Hello, welcome back to the Nordic Youth Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Daniel Su.
I'm Charlie Haug.
And today we're joined by two representatives from theater. If you guys would like to introduce yourselves.
I'm Marroquin. I'm Bronwyn Sprunger.
Cool. So here today the goal of this podcast is just talking about theater, trying to learn about their process, things like that. If you guys could just start us off by introducing your roles on theater, what you guys do, just basic information to start us off.
Great. I'm the theater president, so I manage pretty much everything within the theater, budget, events, fundraisers, the shows themselves. I also help manage the cast for all of our shows. Additionally, aside from being president, I also tend to play lead roles in most of our shows.
I'm Bronwyn. Wait, I already said that. I'm a freshman, and no, I'm just kind of here. I do 7th period. I do after school. I just pull up.
What does the leadership board look like for theater? I understand there's a president, but is there a sort of hierarchy?
Yeah. So there's the president, and then we have vice president. We have secretary. We do not have a treasurer. Our secretary doubles as our treasurer. Then we have a parent-student liaison, social media manager, design manager, and an activities coordinator.
Wow, that's a lot of positions.
Is theater one of those things where you have a class and an after-school club thing?
Yeah. So we have 4 different theater classes. We have 2 tech periods. So there's just tech. Tech just means people that build the sets. So all the classes work on the technical aspects of our shows, like lighting, prop design, set design. So there's 2 periods of that, and then there's theater arts, which is an acting class for people that want to learn what theater looks like, what it entails.
Like the basics.
Yeah, like the basics of acting. And then there's 7th period, which is first semester it's play performance, and second semester is musical performance. You have to audition to get into 7th period, because if you're in the 7th period class, then you're eligible to get leads in the shows. You cannot get leads if you're not in 7th period, because we do most of our rehearsals during the class time.
But you can still be in the play?
You can still be in the play, yeah. You will just not be considered for leads. Yeah.
That's reasonable. And, sorry, did you have a question?
That's okay.
I was going to ask, do your roles as president fluctuate based on, kind of where you're at in the process of making a musical or play production?
Definitely. It's kind of interesting because while I am the theater president, there's also a stage manager and 2 assistant stage managers per show. So it's definitely very collaborative in the sense that I am not the highest level of power all the time. As a castmate, I'm not really president. I'm fully under the stage managers. Usually, mostly towards the beginning of putting a show together, the stage managers do tend to rely a little bit more on me, since we do switch, again, we have different stage managers for each show. So I'm the only person that remains president all year round. So maybe they'll rely a little bit more on me towards the beginning. And I also still help with a lot of other things about the production. I talk a lot with our design manager to get merchandising out for our show. And also I manage, I help oversee the poster and the program. So I'm definitely still involved in the behind the scenes stuff, but I'm not as an active leader in the show itself.
That's very interesting. For all those leadership positions, is it usually just more of a seniors only thing? Is it all grades? How does that get decided?
It tends to be more senior led,
Yeah.
Especially also because theater tends to be a lot about experience. So the assumption is that if you're a senior, you've been in more shows, and especially for tech, because tech has a lot of safety aspects that I guess acting doesn't really have. For being a stage manager, you have to have taken at least 1 tech class, because you learn a lot of theater terminology, and you learn a lot of, again, safety regulations with how to build stable platforms and stable walls. And all those things, they're not really things that we would entrust to people that have not been doing theater for a longer period of time. And that kind of also transcends into acting and being a lead in the shows. However, you don't necessarily have to be a lead, or you don't necessarily have to be a stage manager to do leadership. They're not related like that.
So a lot of us talk about experience, right? I'm wondering, as a freshman, how do you kind of play into that?
Well, I've been doing theater since I was 5, so it's a little different for me. But I think for most freshmen, most take theater arts 1. Me and 2, well, now it's like 4 other freshmen are in 7th period because we auditioned at the beginning of the year to get into 7th period. And so for the first 2 shows, I've been understudies, and I was in the understudy cast, and I was to like lead understudies. And now we don't have an understudy show for Anastasia, and so everyone who's an understudy is in the main cast. But I'm also understudy Anya, but I'm also in the main cast.
Is understudy like a? Can you explain
Yeah,
what it is?
understudy is like if, let's say I'm Anna's understudy, if Anna gets sick, I have to know her part so I can do it. Or because we have an understudy show, we learn the part and we perform it, but only for 1 show.
Oh, so you actually perform a whole show?
Yeah.
Is that like typically the last show or the first show?
It's like in the middle. We've had Thursday shows, but I think normally in theater there isn't an understudy show, but at Inglemoor we've had some.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
a great opportunity.
Yeah.
You guys have mentioned a lot about what the tech theater is and how they play an important role. What are some things that they might do, either one of you guys can answer, that important things they do that an audience might not notice?
Do you want to start?
I mean, they do a lot of stuff.
work. Yeah.
All the props they make sure that all the set pieces get made and are painted. They do like everything. Like
Yeah.
they do all the curtains. They're backstage watching the show every single time. If anything goes wrong, they can help step in. They do like
I definitely think that tech is an aspect that goes super
It's so
unnoticed. It goes
Yeah.
really underappreciated. Because yeah, just like adding on to what Bronwyn was saying, everything that you see on stage that's not directly like the body of the actor is managed by somebody else. And absolutely everything. We get our wigs made by a tech, makeup most of the time. The shoes we pick, the shoes we wear are picked by a tech. That's the head of costumes. All the set, every single thing that's on the set that's built, picked, anything is all done by the techs.
they make makeup plots for us,
Yeah.
so we don't get to choose how we do our makeup. They plan it out, they draw it, and then that's what we do.
It's given to us too.
How large is the staff? Like how many people work for tech?
Well, for Wizard of Oz, I think we had like 80 people
Yeah.
So
altogether.
does it change based on?
On the show, yeah. A lot of people have conflicts regarding with like sports and things like that. We usually tend to have the most number of people in our winter show.
Yeah.
Which was Wizard of Oz.
So obviously you both have a lot of experience throughout theater. Have there been any things either on the tech side or more on the acting side that might have gone wrong or almost gone wrong? And how do you overcome something like that in such a time crunch?
You should go first.
It's hard. There's like a lot.
The wall incident, that's the first thing.
The wall incident?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Basically, during the play that goes wrong understudy show, so one of the things that tends to happen a lot with the understudies is that they don't get as much practice on stage as the overstudy cast, the main cast. They usually, they rehearse in the library. I mean, if you want to speak a little bit more to that as a being an understudy.
Yeah, we practice in the theater, like the classroom, and then once it gets to tech week, we move all the tables and we like tape out the stage and we practice here.
Yeah, and so for our fall play, which was the play that goes wrong, Play That Goes Wrong is a very technically heavy show because there's a lot of things that are meant to go wrong, but in a very safe manner. And one of the biggest things that we had is that 3 walls in that show fall. And so it has to be measured exactly so that
they're
you're
planning
standing.
to fall.
They're planning
Yeah,
to
yeah.
fall, yes. So as an actor, you have a square of tape on the floor and you're meant to stand right there, or you need to be aware that the wall is gonna fall so that you don't walk in front of it. There's a lot of safety issues with that. Well, not issues, a lot of safety concerns and regulations. For our understudy show this year, it was okay. The understudies were on stage, they were performing. It was almost the end of the show, and the last wall was about to fall, and one of our understudies was she was meant to be doing this, just not in the place that she was at. She was carrying out this couch, and then she's about to walk in front of the fly, and then we hear the ringing of the walls, like
We start.
and they, cause, somebody pulled the trigger that we have backstage to make the wall fall, and I'm sat in the house, and I genuinely yell out the name of the actor. I was like, actor, and she hears me, steps out as the wall is falling. It was this close to hitting her on
So
her
it didn't
face.
actually hit her.
It did not hit her.
Well, that
We
makes
were
for a good
lucky.
show then.
It was, there's a picture of all of the overstudies out there somewhere, literally like this.
You guys,
whole
they
scene.
all go.
Yeah, it was
So
great.
Well, I'm glad no one got hurt. That's a good
How
thing.
heavy is the wall?
Oh, it would have, yeah,
She's been crushed?
Well, like,
I mean,
Yeah,
she definitely would have fractured something.
Oh my goodness.
that's it. I mean, it's a wall.
It's
How
a wall. It's
How
a
tall was it?
They're
Um,
usually pretty tall.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Like,
So,
Like taller than like us?
Oh, yeah.
like at
The-
least like
the
maybe
wall.
like 10.
I mean like
10
I'm
feet
thinking
maybe,
10.
Wow.
something like that.
yeah. Pretty tall.
It was pretty tall.
You guys mentioned a little bit about auditioning for each play. And again, as people who have a lot of experience, how do you deal with what I would assume there's anxiety that comes with that, right? Like getting prepared for it. That's something that would at least make me very nervous. How do you get prepared and how do you deal with that?
I mean, the best thing you can do is really over prepare, so practice as much as you can. But there's always, like, for me at least, I always have nerves. Sometimes I get so nervous that, like, I don't remember my audition because I just black out, like, I get dizzy. But, like, just breathe. I don't know. I get really nervous. I'm not the person to ask for this. I don't know.
Yeah, I get pretty nervous too,
Yeah.
I'd say. But I like to think that I like to think that you should always feel a little bit nervous, because otherwise, if you get too comfortable, like that's not a good thing either.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I get nervous. I don't know. I just breathe, and then I walk in there, and I usually crack a joke or something,
Yeah.
and then I start, and then I'm kind of like, well,
Yeah, and, like, people...
yeah.
The thing is, the room, you have to remember that the room wants you to be good, because they want to cast good actors for a good show. And so if they're on your side, you just have to remember that.
Yeah, because usually when you come into an audition room, there'll
There's,
be
like-
a long table of
Mhm.
probably like 6 people
Yeah.
sat down.
And they're all taking notes.
And they're all taking notes on what you're doing, and you're just kind of standing there saying like, I'm gonna be singing, and my monologue is.
Yeah.
Who are those people?
Director, assistant directors, stage managers, assistant stage managers.
In the case if you're doing a musical, a vocal director, choreographer.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming it's just one of those things where like you're initially nervous, but like once you ease into it, does it get better? Or are you just nervous throughout?
That's, well,
I don't think.
I think for me, like, it's different with auditions versus shows, because for shows, I'll be really nervous, but once I get on stage, I'm fine. But the thing is, normally, I don't do a great job of preparing beforehand, and so I worry that I'm going to forget something. Once I get my monologue done, I'm fine. My song is normally the easy one. It's just the memorization that's hard for me.
For me, I always get nervous before singing, just like generally speaking, and so I always tend to do my monologue first and then my song. So I kind of use my monologue to kind of like ease into it.
I just get it over with
Okay. So I kind of use my monologue to ease into my audition, and then once I'm more comfortable within the room, then it's easier for me to sing out.
I feel like no matter how well you prepare, it's always inevitable that you might not always get the role that you want, or you might get cast as something else. How have you learned to deal with, either one of you, how have you learned to deal with situations where you might not get exactly what you want?
I mean, the thing is, you don't always know what they're looking for. So you might be this amazing dancer, and the role you really want is a super strong singer. And they're like, well, we have this one role that you need to be able to do like 3 pirouettes, and you can do it. So they would put you there. So it's not necessarily that you're bad, but what you're good at, and they want to put you in something that you're strong at. So it's just, I mean, it's always difficult.
It tends to be even more difficult when it's a part that you really, really
That
want.
you've, like,
It's
held on to.
you maybe have heard it, but there's dream roles within theater that are just
Mhm.
characters that you would do everything to play.
Yeah.
And it's especially hard when it's one of those. Yeah, honestly, I think that for me, in my experience, I, I'm the type of person that after hearing about a cast list or something, if I'm a little bit sad about the results, I just need a little bit of space. For me, it's very overwhelming when right after a cast list is released, people text you about it. Which I mean, most of the times it's like in good faith, like congratulating you, right? But to me, it's just very, it's too soon, and I just need a little bit more space after that.
Like with certain shows I've done, because when I do theater outside of school, we don't have a cast list. We just get our individual emails. Then everyone's like texting like, "Oh, what do you get?" And sometimes they're like, "Oh, I just want like, I just want to put my foot down for a little bit."
So you were talking about how assignments are primarily based off of what you're good at. Do you guys mind sharing what you guys are particularly good at?
Oh, I think my strongest suit is definitely singing.
Yeah.
Even though I was a dancer first. I've been dancing since I was 3, and so I have a lot of expertise in that. But singing has always been something that it's just resonates with me the most, like in my heart. So I think I've definitely grown a lot more in singing, because once I started singing, I kind of put dancing more on the back burner. I still try to keep up my technique and all those things, but I definitely focus more on singing.
I mean, I've been like singing since I could talk. Like, I was always singing. So I think singing and acting, I kind of put them together, because when you're singing, you're telling a story.
Yeah.
So I think singing is probably my number one, but acting is pretty close. And I take dance classes, but I wouldn't say that I would put it number one. I don't think I'm as strong as other people are.
Do you guys have any recommendations for maybe some singing coaches? Because some of my friends like to sing in class a little bit. And
Me?
yeah.
I was thinking about Alex Chase.
I was thinking,
Yeah,
I
after
see.
that
Maybe
concert.
I do.
yeah, but do you have any recommendations? You can send me an email or a text
Maybe you could be
after.
the coach.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll coach, trust, sure.
Some of my friends
Alex
might need
Chase,
some help
voice
on that.
lesson. Nope, don't worry, Charlie. I got you.
I wanted to ask, so in Nordic News, what we do is kind of like we have the editors, which are like the people who are highest up. They kind of like oversee the class completely, while the advisor does like edits, but it's not very like major to our process. What's like the dynamic between leadership and just students who don't have leadership positions? Like, like do you guys have like an advisor, and what is like the role?
Yeah, so we have an advisor, and I guess our advisor and our president kind of tend to work a little bit closer together than the advisor with the rest of the team. That just kind of tends to happen because aside from being like the school's theater president, we're also part of the International Thespian Society, so I also double as the chapter president, as the troop president. So there's a lot of things that I need to do myself, like I need to sign off on, we track like our membership points. So I need to sign off on every single person's like tracking sheet, and I need to sign off on inductions, and I need to sign off on awards and things like that. So I tend to be a little bit tighter with our advisor regarding that. And then we have our weekly meetings, that all of us. And then as far as the rest of the theater people go, I guess we just tend to run all of our club time. I don't really think that there's like a lot of a difference in. I think we just kind of organize things, and I don't feel like there's a really big gap between both. Yeah, I mean you should.
I mean, I hang out with you guys. Like I'm not on leadership, but I'm still like friends with everyone, and it's a strong like knit community. But it's not necessarily like, oh, I'm better than you. It's like, oh, I have this power, and I can like help you if you need something because I do this.
Yeah. Mostly I answer a lot of questions.
Yeah, you answer. She answers all my questions.
That's a very nice dynamic. I think that's very healthy, or at least from what I can hear so far.
Yeah.
So speaking more about that dynamic between people in theater, can you talk a little bit more about like the relationship between overs and unders?
Yeah, so we're both cast, obviously, over an understudy. And then we do, what's it called, the theater with the plot? Like the character, we have to do like this character
Character analysis.
Fill out this character analysis, and that's basically when you get to like know your overstudy or know your understudy, and you guys basically like create how your character is. And so you guys both have the same idea, like moving forward. And overstudies, they'll be doing the blocking, understudies will take notes, and then eventually understudies and overstudies separate, and the understudies go and practice somewhere, and the overstudies practice on the stage until opening night, where overstudies do on stage the whole time. Understudies go watch like once or twice just to make sure they have all the blocking down, and then the weekend or the week after the first set of performances, the understudies have 2 days of like a mini tech week, and that's when they like make sure that everything's down. They have their hair and makeup on and their costume on. They have everything, and yeah.
That's very interesting. I mean, as someone who's done a lot of sports myself, that sounds a lot like how we like. There's often between like a varsity spot and a JV spot. There's a lot of, at least in rowing, there's a lot of relations between the different boats, which is something I think is very valuable. It sounds like you guys have a nice little mentorship program going down there. Yeah. So more on the topic of theater and how successful you guys have been. I was made aware that you guys are quite profitable. Is that something you'd like to talk about?
Yes, of course. I would love to talk about this. I think I wouldn't say that we are profitable. I do think that we are able to keep up our income so that we are able to do very good shows. Because what happens is that we have our theater budget, and we spend virtually all of it every single year. It rolls over completely every single year because we spend everything that's in there, and then we make it back in ticket sales. So it's not, we are not growing in money. We are just replenishing what we had before. So we tend to spend probably $20,000 on each of our plays, and then $40,000 for a musical. And we are also very lucky. Our booster club also helps pay for a lot of it. So it's not all money that's coming out of our account. We get a lot of support from our boosters, for especially professionals. They help pay for a lot of the professionals that are involved in our shows.
That's awesome. We had a podcast recently with, you guys should watch this if you're watching this one. Wait till this one's over, then go back and watch our podcast with Scandia, because they've also been able to grow what they've done a lot through, especially the yearbook sales and the senior ads. So they told us they've been able to get a bunch of new technology, new camera equipment, and all that stuff. Is that like the more tickets that you guys are selling and the more shows that you're able to put on? Is that something that makes the shows in the future better?
Definitely, yes. Obviously I was not in leadership when I was a freshman or a sophomore, but I've always been very, very interested in learning more about leadership and the way that our program has worked over the past few years. So I've actually kind of been involved in the finances of it since sophomore year, because I was very proactive, and I would go and ask the president at the time to show me, the ticket sales that we had, or the budget for the shows. So I've been very involved in that, and I have seen our budget grow every single year. And that's because, and I know I just said that we don't really grow a budget. We don't anymore, because what happened is, coming right out of the pandemic, before the pandemic, we were about to put on the spring musical in that year, so we had spent all the money that we had budgeted for the show, but then we never got to actually perform. So that year, we made none of the money back that we spent. So we just spent $40,000 and were able to make none of it back. So when I got here as a freshman, we were trying to grow our budget back up to what it is now, so that we could put on very good productions again. Because, for instance, I remember when I was a freshman, the first show that we did, our set was not really, we didn't have enough money to build platforms or build wagons and things like that. So we have gotten much, much better over the years, because our shows are better, and if they're better, more people come to see them, and then we make more money off ticket sales. So it's definitely a big cycle.
So with these numbers, 40,000 and 20,000, what is kind of like the biggest contributor to that?
Definitely I would say the professionals, because the big difference between making a play and making a musical, it comes down to the musical aspect of it, obviously. But the things that one may not really consider once you are seeing it from the audience is that we have to hire a choreographer, we have to hire a vocal director, we have to hire a pit conductor, we have to rent out instruments, we have to buy the score for the music. There's a lot of expenses that go along with that. Also, especially for us, we don't do our musical here. We do it at the NPAC. So the NPAC is a much bigger stage. So we also have to spend a lot more on, say, the set to fill up the stage. So set budget kind of tends to not double, but maybe increase by like 50% more. And then all the additional people that are working on our production. And that pretty much amounts to the difference between the two.
The NPAC is the North Shore Performing Arts Center, Bothell High School, right? Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure because I don't know those things.
Do you guys have anything like on your wish list that you've always wanted to buy for theater, but never had enough money to?
I mean, do you have anything? I mean, I know you.
think so.
I would say maybe a turntable, but we're never gonna buy a turntable.
That's so cool, like the ones that rotate all the way around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a turntable. I think I looked into buying one for the station actually, but it was too expensive.
I like, you know, like those nice wigs, like with the legs.
With the legs.
Yeah, those are nice.
Yeah, we're getting this for the station.
Oh, we are?
Yeah.
Okay, well now the audience will know that. They'll get to see some nice wigs if they go
Nice,
on the
very
station.
nice wigs. Yes, I've been told that we're each gonna have.
Are we doing a wig?
Yeah, we're doing wigs. You're gonna have two. No. Yes.
Two wigs?
Oh, I have four.
How does,
You have 4.
I have
You're
4.
one character.
I know, but I have different hairstyles.
how does that work?
I just get re-wigged between my scenes. So I walk off, and there's somebody waiting there, and so I just flip over, they take my wig off, we put in a new one, and I go back on.
So you're never wearing two at once? You're not two
No.
wigs, two wig Anna? Okay.
No, I'm never wearing two at
Why
once.
do I have 2? Ensemble too?
I think so, yeah.
Wait, we're not gonna be redheads.
No, yeah, we are gonna be redheads.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Is that like a yes moment or like a
No, it's okay. I don't know. Yeah, we just picked it like last period, so.
Okay.
Well, it sounds like you guys are both very involved in Inglemoor Theater Company. What does theater as a whole mean to you?
You should start.
I mean, me personally, I don't do sports, like, dance, but, so, like, this is where I put most of my time and energy. I've done intensives, I've done workshops, I've done classes since I was, like, 5 or 6, so it's, like, I'm not gonna say my world, because that's, like, a lot, but it's, like, a lot of what I do is theater, and I've been in 2 shows this whole year, so I do rehearsal here, then I drive out to Kirkland, and I do rehearsal till 9, and then I come back home and do my homework. So it's not like I'm spending a lot of time at home, it's what I'm spending my time at is specifically theater. So it's a lot of what I do.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I also want to say it's my everything, but it's my almost everything. I mean, I do other things. I do DECA and I do ASB, but I think that the best way that I can describe theater for me is just food for the soul, and like it's just thanks, Daniel. It's just really like it's what makes me like the happiest ever. Like it's really funny because whenever I'm sick or I can't sing or I can go to rehearsal for a couple days, I will experience like a certain type of withdrawal where I will like sit up at home and be like, I can't sing because I'm sick and it like hurts me emotionally. So it's just, yeah, it's food for my soul. I spend most of my time doing theater. I don't do 2 shows at a time like Bronwyn because I do leadership.
It's a bad idea.
It's a bad idea. No, and also the other part where I'm not, the interesting part about doing both leadership and rehearsals, the show itself, is that once you are when I am not at rehearsal, I am doing work for the troupe, or I'm organizing an event, or I'm planning a fundraiser. So I'm always doing something theater related, even if I'm not at the theater physically.
I believe our application for the Nordic News is open right now, so for any introspective writers, we encourage an application for theater for people who maybe have gotten interested based on this wonderful podcast. How would you recommend that they maybe get involved, or how can they? Is it just a sign up on like for the course request? How does it work? How can someone get into theater?
People who are hungry in their soul.
Yeah.
I mean, you would sign up for. Well, I don't know how people who haven't done.
Okay.
I don't know
Okay,
the
I
process.
will. So usually, if you are looking to involve yourself in a production, just generally speaking, we actually have physical sign-ups at the door of the Little Theater. So there'll be literally a piece of paper taped to the door, and you just go up to it, and you either sign up to audition for the show, or you sign up to be considered to be in the tech crew, and you literally just sign your name and your email, and
It's like
that's
in
it.
the movies, like where they
Yeah.
go up.
Yeah, you go up to the door, you sign your name, and you're signed up. And the stage managers will send you an email either about the auditions or, of the tech crew, and you'll come in for a meeting for tech, or you'll go into an audition for an actor, and then you'll get cast, or you'll get in the crew, and you're doing theater.
Are there any prerequisites, or just like
I mean-
average Joe could just?
Yep. You really, the only, again, there's nothing you need to do to be ensemble or to be just any tech position. However, when you are getting to more specialized areas, if you will, like for instance, the thing we talked about before where it was, you can only be a lead if you are in the play performance class. And for tech, you can only be a crew head, or you can only be a stage manager or an assistant stage manager if you're in a tech class. So crew heads, they're just the people that oversee other aspects of the show. So for instance, there's a props head, which oversees all the props, costumes head, hair and makeup. We have lights head, we have sound head. So yeah, for those, there are more things you have to have.
Maybe speaking directly to the audience, what kind of people are you looking for? What kind of people would be perfect, and what are you looking for new theater prospects?
I think that. Let me think. I think that we're always looking for people that are as passionate about theater as we are. There's nothing like working with people who want to be there as much as you want to be there.
If you could say anything to somebody like on the fence about joining theater, what would you say to them?
I mean, it never hurts to try. If you don't get it, you don't get it. If you get in, you can try and see what happens. If you don't like it, don't do the next show. It's like, it's a commitment, but it's not like it's like a commitment for your whole life. It's for like
A couple months.
a couple months.
Yeah. For me, I'd say theater changes lives, and I do firmly believe that. Yeah. You'll meet people that are just incredible, and you'll get to experience a lot of emotions, and you'll get to work. Theater is a very collaborative thing, and I think that's just very important. I think that's an experience that is really valuable to have.
Yeah, with theater you meet so many new people. Going into 7th period this year, I knew 1 or 2 people, but now I'm friends with most of them. And you meet, no matter if you enjoy the experience or not, you're going to meet new people and you're going to try new things. I think that's really important.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for coming. We'll make sure to check out what's the new Anastasia. When it comes out, everyone go watch that. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.